Elijah on the mountain challenged the prophets of Baal and won that challenge because God manifested himself. And so he had the prophets slain. And then he ran off for fear of his life because the queen Jezebel, who loved the false gods, would have his life. And an angel had to wake him up in the desert to tell him to eat. And he went to the mountain of God, Horeb, also known as Sinai, where Moses and the people had met God in a powerful way. And he sat in the cave and waited for God to show himself. Well, earlier God had shown himself in a way that was majestic and kind of scary too on that mountain. This time it was different. This time there was a hurricane wind. Elijah didn't find God in that hurricane. There was the earthquake. Not there either. There was a mighty fire. Just like at the time of Moses. God wasn't there either. And he hears. In his face, God speaks, sometimes dramatically, but if we are to mature in the friendship of God, we need to hear the whisper. We need to let go of demanding that God make everything exciting happen inside. We need to let go of depending on God to make everything perfect on the outside so we can find him like we usually do. This weather, you can find God in this beautiful weather, but guess what? You live in Northeast Ohio, don't depend on it. Inside and outside. Sometimes it's exciting and beautiful, but often God comes in a whisper. And the saint learns to detect that subtle, quiet God. To find out that manifestation of God within is more powerful than everything in the world. Tiny whispering sound. Elijah was strengthened then by God and could carry on a ministry that would be dangerous. Paul was also challenged. Oh, in so many ways. But Jesus came to him so powerfully, it was like a lightning bolt. At first he was blind. He must have been filled with zeal when he heard the voice of Jesus, and it turned his whole life around from persecuting Jesus and his people in church to serving and to evangelizing. But he had so many challenges and so many pains. Can you imagine the pain that was there that he would write? My conscience joins the Holy Spirit bearing witness that I have a great sorrow, constant anguish in my heart. I could wish that I myself were accursed and cut off from Christ for the sake of my people. He's basically saying, I'd go to hell if my people, the Israelites, would come to Christ. I want it so bad. I'm in so much pain. And he didn't always see the success. He didn't see the Israelites come in droves to believe in Messiah Christ. Nor was he always successful with those who were not Israel, the other peoples. he had to trust the whisper that said, I'm with you. Keep on reaching. Then we come to the character of all characters, Peter. And here's Jesus dismissing the crowds after he feeds them, going to be his Abba Father, whom we dare to call now Abba Father. There he is wrapped in prayer. And then he comes like between 3 and 6 in the morning, walking on the sea. And of course they're terrified because this great storm's going on, and then you see him walking on the water. Ah! It's a ghost! What does he say? Courage, it is I. Wonder if that is like an allusion to the name of God. I am who am. I think so. Courage, it is I. Remember, I've touched you deep inside. Trust the whisper. Trust that little tiny voice of faith inside of you. It is I. Well, if it is, show me. Let me walk on the water. Okay, trust. Come. And Peter walks on the water. And what's he do? He gets distracted by the powerful wind. And then he starts to sink. Is Jesus an easy coach of faith? No. He doesn't say, hey, good job, you did pretty good. Maybe next time you can take a few more steps. Instead he says, oh, you have little faith. Sometimes when you love somebody, you're not that easy on them. Why did you falter? He gets him back in the boat after he cries, the prayer of all of us, Lord, save me. And now, that that faith is in there. The Holy Spirit is speaking in the heart. Truly, you are the Son of God. And so, what do you and I have to confront now? The same kind of things. Like Elijah, we would want, like in the earlier days of faith, to have a confirmation of something that is exciting. Sometimes people look for that in the kind of worship we have, which is fine. In some of the churches, especially those who are non-denominational, will have quite a rock and roll performance. And that's okay as an expression of the Holy Spirit, but is God in the rock and roll? No. God is just as much a whisper in the morning. Why do you put you to sleep? But do we have faith? Paul was crying because of those who would not believe. Aren't you and I often crying because of those who don't believe in our families, among our friends, in our American culture, in our own Western culture? That's a challenge for us too. And Peter sang because the wind was so violent, he would sing again. He'd really sing when they asked him, aren't you one of his followers? I don't know the man. He really sang that day. Don't you and I sing too? Oh, there's all kinds of storms in our lives. Storms that challenge our faith. Storms that challenge our morality. Storms that challenge our zeal for the Lord. And sometimes our eyes do move away from Jesus. And he's not here to say, It doesn't matter. He's here to say, oh, you of little faith, why did you falter? Get back. Get back. And so, we too cry, Lord, save us. Save us from sometimes a lack of faith. Save us from spiritual deafness that does not enable us to hear that we have.